It's Industry Season 3 time. Hey, Tej, come on up. Hello, hello. You might hear my dog, Rondo, just, excited to be in the conversation. Welcome, Sam. We're going to get a few bars off before we get started, and I'll let everyone kind of trickle in. Hey, Rondo. Let me pull up the synopsis of these 3 episodes because this is the first Industry Season 3 chat. I think we got some special stuff coming for this season's chat. So stay tuned with what we watch. Hi, Fuego. We'll let people come on in, tweet it out. We are live talking Industry HBO, the new Sunday HBO show. Can everyone see me? Give me a thumbs up, the heart with the plus sign at the bottom if you can see me. We might be having some technical difficulties. All good? Can we see me? Okay, cool. But let me start by saying happy What We Watch Wednesday. It is our first Wednesday back from our second annual film festival, our gorgeous live event that we had Saturday on Kobe Day, August 24th. It was a hit, as expected. And I think people really got to understand the true meaning and the birth and why we're here with what we watch, okay? And we're really going to celebrate the artists. So I'm very, very excited about all of this and really excited to chat Industry Season 3. So again, thank you so much for joining. If you were able to join this weekend at the What We Watch Film Festival, Scene on the Scene, honey. Okay. Also, as a What We Watch recommendation, I want to recommend a film and a TV show. But before I do that, I want everyone in the room to come on up. Speakers, come on up. I want you to give me a recommendation, one TV or film recommendation to tap into. Tej, start us off.
You put me on the spot. Come back to me.
Okay, there's a lot of people. Let me invite you guys to speak up. Come on up. Don't be shy. This is about all of us. Hello. Tap in. Go ahead, Sam. Give me a recommendation.
I have mine.
Okay, go ahead, Teach.
I'm going to recommend that this week in theaters around the country, they are putting Twisters back in theaters and Twister, the original, in theaters in 40X. If you've never heard of 40X, it's basically like half movie, half amusement park ride. You sit in the seats move. It'll spray water at you if you wanted to. You can turn that off. And it's me and Monique were fortunate enough to see Twisters in that way already when it was first put out. First of all, Twisters is a phenomenal film, but also watching it in 4DX is kind of perfect. You can only imagine what it's like to be in those car chases and to be running from Twisters and to be in the seat just going crazy. But I'm going this weekend to see Twister in that fashion. I've seen Twister obviously, but I've never seen it in 4DX, and that's being put out. So I'm going to recommend you treat yourself and go have some fun and go watch Twister and or Twisters in 4DX this weekend.
Thank you, Sam. What about you? What are you recommending?
Uh, for all my Alien fans, definitely recommending Romulus. It's a must watch. You should definitely check it out if you're into the series. Loved how they did it. But yeah, that's my rec.
Heck, yes. Anybody else want to
Hold
come
time.
up and give me a recommendation before we go? Before we get into it, let me not be. Okay, Nem, give me a recommendation for stuff you've been watching. What we watch. Give me some recommendations or one recommendation. Nem, we can't hear you.
We can't hear you. I don't know if he's there.
Okay, he's muted. Can you unmute? All right. Well, I will give my recommendation. Sam, you just said it. It's definitely Alien Romulus. What We Watch may or may not have David Johnson on the show. I mean, y'all gotta keep up. We may or may not have the creator and showrunner of Industry HBO on the chart as well. I mean, you gotta stay tapped in because we real deeply and well connected out here, okay? So I am definitely this week. It is a mistake. It is a mistake if you do not watch Alien Romulus, okay? It is a mistake. David Johnson went absolutely crazy as I knew he was like 5 minutes into the show or into the movie, and I'm really excited for everyone to watch that. And honestly, it's so nice and invigorating, kind of like Teach recommending Twisters and 40X, for you to go back to a lot of films within a franchise or within a story or within a trilogy and just go back and see how everything ties in. It's really, really cool. That being said, one last thing. I want to be very clear about what I've truly been excited about for fall, okay? What I'm truly here to do, and that is Texas football, baby. We are in the SEC. We are SEC champions. You are looking and witnessing SEC champions at work, and it starts this Saturday, okay? There's very few things that put twinkles in my eyes. You guys have seen it all day, every day in what we watch. And 1B is Texas college football. Everyone with their hands and thumbs down is going to feel us this year. Y'all are going to feel the pain. Okay. Thank you, Cheech. Give me some 100, period. Okay. So I just felt like our first What We Watch Wednesday back from our second annual event. That's 2 consecutive years in a row that we doing it out here in Hollywood with What We Watch. Thank you for being a part of this. I just want to be clear about where we stand. It's that burnt orange. Okay, so let's get into this because Industry Season 3, I feel sorry for people that aren't watching this show. I really and truly do. I do. I do. It is, if you're not making time for this show, um, you know, the story behind Industry is very not similar to what we watch and that what we've built here, but the creators used to be, financiers. They used to be people in finance at school, and then they went into the workforce as analysts and things like that. And they hated it, and they were like, "Fuck this!" But I'm gonna make a TV show about it. And, Mickey Down, one of the co-creators, him and Conrad McKay, Mickey posted the other day, he was like, ha, made it to Bloomberg anyways, and didn't have to do it through the companies and stuff. So just let that inspire you, as we've inspired people quite a bit over this past weekend for sure, and over the last few years. Let that inspire you, and think about that when you're watching this show. Tej, I want to talk about how they're going crazy with season 3 because there's an overarching large theme here. And it is that season 1 and season 2 really showed the ebbs and flows, the mountains and valleys of our girl Harper, my girl Mahala Harold, okay? But this season we found a little bit of a change. Still very inclusive, still very Harper. We're all tapped into like, what is Harper about to do? What is her crazy, terrible ass about to do? But we've been really focused on the doll, Yasmin. So TJ, talk to us about how that's been like a little different this season.
This is a massive, massive moment that can't be understated for this show and its fans. We started this show. There were not a lot of people watching the show, and you can know that without looking at it because you can see what night it was on, and it was a new show. So it's not like it was in the Saturday Sunday slot. We know that Sunday slot is usually reserved for the big hitters at HBO. That's your Game of Thrones. That's your House of the Dragons. That Sunday spot, that's going way back. If you're old like me, that's The Sopranos. The Sunday slot for HBO is where you put the primetime shows, and industry has never been that. And not because it hasn't been a great show. It's obviously been a great show, but not enough people are watching it. So even going into the season, when we are told that industry is now going to move to Sundays, that showed you 2 things. It showed you, 1, we have more faith in this show, and 2, more people are watching this show. And it shows you 3 things. 3, what we are seeing, what they're seeing before we see it of season 3 looks to be up to the standard, if not better than the standard. So armed with that information, HBO puts it in this spot. This is a massive moment for the show. And not only that, you're dealing with losing one of your most talented actors in David Johnson, who just literally jumped off the screen in Alien Romulus. Like a lot of talented people in that cast, and David Johnson just stole the movie in terms of performance. That he was filming that while they were filming season 3. So you're going into it, you're missing, maybe you're not missing your Michael Jordan, but you're missing your Scottie Pippen. You're missing your Derek Fisher. You're missing a guy in a playoff going into a championship series. We're missing one of the better parts of our team. And we are restructuring the show in terms of our protagonist. The first person that we meet in the show is Marshall's character. Sorry, what's her name?
It's
Harper.
Mahala
Harper.
Harold.
We meet Harper first when you first come into this series. She is our protagonist, and she's an outsider. So not only is she an outsider to the industry of the show which we're watching, she's also an outsider to London. So and she's also black, right? So all these we are sat with this person who's an outsider, and kind of her foil in many ways is Yasmin, who is an outsider in certain ways, but in certain ways she is of this space. She's new to this industry, but she's been rich for a long time. Harper's broke. She's not white or she's not black, so there's that going on. And now we have moved these people around in certain ways. Sometimes they're on highs, sometimes they're on lows. We ended last season by firing our protagonist. Our protagonist is out. She doesn't work here anymore. She's gone. So not only are we at this big moment for the show, we're also got a lot of things changing. And it's like it's like they found their footing anyway. We already knew that what we had in the Yasmin character and then that actress and then that storyline, but she's starting up her own shop, which means that she's going to be a direct competitor to Yasmin, even though Yasmin is getting commission off of her sales. For the new shop, it's called, I didn't even tell you this, Monique, it's called Leviathan. That's the name they came up with. We like, if you have any idea what Leviathan means, there's obviously some meaning behind why it's called Leviathan. We are just operating at such a high level. Everything is so interesting. What this show does that no other show on TV does is that stuff that happens. It's not like, oh man, when we get to the season finale, that's when the real big reveal is going to happen and crazy shit's going to start happening. In this show, we've been through 3 seasons. We met Jon Snow this season, and in the second episode of the show, Jon Snow is already fighting in a ball pit with one of our characters. Like this show turns up out of nowhere.
And let me tell y'all something. Speaking of Jon Snow, the Sunday slot, like TJ said, like the Sunday slot is reserved for most recently the Game of Thrones. And yes, for the 40 and up crowd, for Sopranos and things like that. And for the real people, when did The Wire come out? Was The Wire a Sunday show?
Yeah, it was a Sunday show.
Yeah, it was
It
Sunday.
was for some of it, not all of
As
it.
should be. One day I'm going to recommend The Wire as a what we watch recommendation. And I want y'all to know that I'm dead ass about it because I'm about to finish season 2 of The Wire. Yes, I just said that. It is 2024. And I am watching season 2 of The Wire.
We need to do a room for The
Hey,
Wire
you
when
made
you
it.
finally finish. Welcome to the rest of us.
When I tell you that my life is empty when I don't have an episode of that, the way that I got through Saturday, the real reason why What We Watch Film Festival existed on that Saturday was so that I had something to occupy me while I couldn't watch The Wire, because I would rather be watching The Wire for most things I'm doing. I'm just I just want to go home and watch The Wire. It's a long weekend, and I'm I could go to Big Sur, I could go to Big Bear, I could go across the country to New York, and I'm I'm going to stay in and watch The Wire. But anyways, what I want to say about Industry Season 3 is that this shit is fire. We opened this season with a very cool shot of our girl Yasmin on a boat. And I really want to know how y'all feel about Yasmin as a character too, before this season and after this season. I'm really, really interested in that, and I want to let y'all speak. But to the point of Jon Snow, Game of Thrones, we got this slot. I need y'all to have some respect because we've been talking about this show for years. Let me tell y'all something. I've been doing these rooms for 4 years. One of my smallest rooms was 8 to 10 people over the 2 hours. That was it. And you know who 3 of those people were? 2 from the cast of Industry HBO and the showrunner. So I don't know what you want to take from that, but my smallest room had the showrunner of the show I was talking about in there, and the actors tapped in as well, the cast. So just clip that for me, What We Watch, and let's be for real. So when I say that to say, when you get big and you know, people peep what's going on, and What We Watch peeps it early, okay? This show is on the level of Succession and Game of Thrones and Euphoria. Let me repeat that again. This show is on the level of Succession, Game of Thrones, and Euphoria. Period. It is. It is. All right. And if not, like, we're having a great time. And we got Jon Snow and we got Sarah. Let's be clear about this. Sarah, I think her name is Sarah Silverman. Forgive me. Just correct me if I'm wrong. Sarah something. She's from the show Barry, also HBO. Shout out HBO. Okay. And I tweeted 2 years ago, I was like, nah, this girl Sarah be cooking. She could do anything. Like, put her in any role. She is a star. Okay, and I love what she did in Barry. But now we have her in this season. And when I tell you every time she's on screen, I'm like, damn.
It's Goldberg.
I'm Sarah Goldberg. Thank you. I'm like, who's Sarah Silverman is a person.
She's a comedian.
Yes.
She's
Okay.
a comedian, a problematic one.
Okay. No, Sarah Silverman, no credit. It's Sarah Goldberg. Thank you. So I've just been really excited because we've got the same amount of cocaine, we've got the same amount of sex, we've got the same amount of death, we've got the same amount of messiness, if not more. Okay. And if you remember when we talked about Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon season 2 ending, and we were really, really, really missing stuff. We were missing the cocaine and the drugs and the sex and the death. That's what we were missing. I just want you to know Industry season 3 is giving you that. So let me let Jordan come speak. Jordan Woods, welcome to the stage. How are you feeling about this season? And how are you feeling about Yasmin season 2, Yasmin season 3?
I've been waiting for this space. I'm gonna put myself in the back real quick first. I'm an industry day one supporter. I'm an industry truther. I'm happy that HBO is starting to see the light with the show. As a former econ major, I actually get a lot of the stuff that's going on, so it's making it even a little bit better. So loving it. Yasmin, before season 3, sorry, at the end of season 2, my opinion of her hasn't really changed. I feel like we kind of are just at the tip of the iceberg with her so far this season. I feel like they're kind of trying to show her having a little bit more of like a backbone, a little bit more of like a, trying to escape the stigma of like old money and all that type of stuff. But I feel like we really haven't seen her full transformation of what she's going to be by the end of the season. So I feel like we're just getting into it. Obviously, we're only on episode 3, going on episode 4. But I feel like we're just starting to scratch the tip of the iceberg with her as far as her like character arc. But for the whole season, as a whole so far, I don't know if I've seen a show have this many potential subplots just like floating out there and have them all be so woven so well. Like doesn't feel like it's haphazard. Doesn't feel like it's just like, oh, they're just throwing shit up against the wall. Like, no, this shit like actually all fits together, and it really keeps you on your toes for like what could actually happen next. They have, just with each character has like 2 different subplots going on at the same time. It's kind of wild. So the writing, I have to look up who the writing team is, but shout out to the writing team because that shit is hard.
Conrad McKay, and then they wrote it too.
Yeah, and I'll close it there. Like that shit is hard to do. Have all those storylines woven together at the same time and have it all make sense to the overall like general premise and themes of the show. Haven't really seen a darker show. Haven't really seen a show that has that many interwoven storylines. So shout out to them.
You're so right about it being a dark show. I've been smiling this whole time about everything. You're right. It is an extremely dark show. And it started off like that too. Like season 1 and just where it came from. This show is about the extremely dark side of making a ton of money and being around people that make nothing but a ton of money for a living and make other people make a ton of money for a living. Like, it's just the very, very dark side of making it where you can, and having all the access and resources to all the most powerful people in the industry HBO, and then really just kind of being fucked all the time and getting fucked all the time, both literally and metaphorically. Go ahead, Nem. How are you feeling about Yasmin pre-season 3 and versus now?
Actually, I'm coming in from a different side of it. I'm getting into it. I'm starting it. So I can't be spoiled, so none of that bothers me. But yeah, I'm definitely into Harper's personality, and just she seems like she's just like straight hustle, right? She's like she don't have the credentials to tote her bag, so to speak. But she's in there anyway and in the mix and already impressing people and stuff like that. So
What
I'm into
episode
it.
are you on?
I just wrapped up the first episode. So
So you're on
um
the pilot. Oh man,
yeah, yeah.
let me tell you
Oh
something.
my God.
Remember this feeling you have about Harper.
So lucky.
Okay. Remember this feeling. Remember what you just said about Harper. We might need to clip that for Nim so he can reference it later. We also have, when you're done with a few of the, we probably did like 2 or 3 rooms a season. You should definitely tap into YouTube and see how we kind of discuss the first few seasons of Industry HBO, especially getting into Harper, because that shit is crazy.
Gotcha.
Matt, talk to us.
What's going on, everybody? So first and foremost, I'm relatively new. I caught up just in time for season 3 for that first episode, and thank you to you and Tej for being the ones to put me on because I had no idea that the show was like this. It's like, what if the bear had way more cocaine and instead of a restaurant, it was about finance?
I love that.
It's been Yeah, it's been incredible. Adding when a team is like, okay, we need to contend now. We need a veteran who's like a star back like 5 years ago. We need a player who was on that championship roster. Come bring me Jon Snow. I need him on Sunday nights at 9 p.m. again, like it's 2015. But yeah, going back to your question about Jasmine, right? In the pilot, I'm rooting for Harper. Jasmine is kind of like whatever. She's a nepo
Jasmine.
baby. Jasmine, my bad. She she speaks multiple languages. She's aggressively British. Like I don't know really what else about her. And then at this point in time, right, we're on season 3, and it feels like their character arcs are going in different directions. It feels like Yasmin is becoming a better, more like a better, more wholesome version of herself. She's, growing into the person she's going to be. And Harper, oh my god, bro! I love what they're doing with her. I think this is incredible, but she's not a hero. Like this is very much, and to be honest, none of them really are heroes. Like these are not the best people. They're not the most functional human
Let
beings.
me
You're rooting for
Let me
dysfunction.
tell you something, Tej. We spoke about this long time ago when it first came out. Was it 2 years ago that's been out now? Let me tell you something. Harper is a terrible person. Like an extremely terrible person. Also simultaneously turn her up. Okay. Yes, and turn her the fuck up. Whatever she, because the chaos that she is a part of, the chaos that she creates. She is an arbiter of chaos. She is an agent of chaos. And I'm going to have to stand. But what a terrible, terrible human being. And Nem, I can't wait till you keep it. But go ahead, Matt, because I feel like you spitting. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been like I feel really bad for her because she's dealing with the issue of her. Like, okay, on the one hand, yes, she's a nepotism baby. She's had wealth her entire life. All acknowledging all of that, she is way more complex than say I guess some of the characters in like Succession, like I feel much more like she's much more of a real human being in the sense that, the depth of her feeling, she's having real genuine issues with her father that I think anyone would look out from the outside and be like, okay, I can be empathetic to this. That really does. It's no fault of her own that her father is, a piece of shit. And then now she's suffering financially. She's got the paparazzi on her. She's trying to be taken professionally while at the same time trying to let her guard down around Kit Harington's character. It's just kind of like you're starting to really just kind of accept her as a fully fleshed out character, not the traditional just nepo baby wants to prove that she's actually has more depth than she does, and then they're really kind of just writing her well enough that she's kind of becoming much more of a self actualized person, and I find myself rooting for her way more now than I did in the beginning. In the beginning, I just thought she was kind of like, yo, let's get back to Harper and Eric and whatever the fuck they're on, or Gus or whatever.
I'm an Eric Stan. Do we have any Eric Stans in here?
Oh, what?
Yeah,
What?
I'm an Eric Stan. Eric is my goat.
Oh
That
my
last
Okay,
episode
thank you,
goodness.
Matt.
notwithstanding.
We don't have no Eric Stans. It's just me and Matt. I love me an Eric Tao. I don't, I don't care what they say about you, Eric. I don't care what anybody says about you, Eric. Get behind me, Eric Tao. Turn that guy up. Fuck them kids.
Can
Okay, they'll be fine on the
can someone
floor.
describe to me what they felt when you realized in this episode that the meeting that Eric was about to have was going to be with Harper, but he didn't realize it? That the way that they're able to create, like, obviously, like, we're
Your sound is really really bad, so you might want to adjust.
Yeah, you're cutting. You're
am I
cutting in
here?
and
Can
out.
you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep, now you're good.
Yeah.
The feeling that I felt when you realized that Harper's at Eric's going to have a meeting.
You're cutting in and out again. You need to keep your phone in a certain place and not move it or something or move around. I'm gonna let Sam speak while you figure that out, Cheech. Sam, how are you feeling about Yasmin pre-season 3 in season 3 right now? Because I got things to say too. I want to hear what Cheech has to say too. Go ahead.
I'm trying to remember. I mean, I remember in season 2, I feel like, they were building on Yasmin's character. So, kind of like to echo what some of the others have shared, like, building on that, she's not just a trust fund baby, that, she has work ethic, things like that. So you kind of like, I mean, at least for me, I think at the end of season 2, I started to like feel for her, like, not to say I liked her, but I started to feel for her position, but in season 3, I like kind of like where she's going. I'm not sure if she's like fully there yet, but I'm really curious to see like what type of like, I don't know, character we're gonna see her as, like, her and this the John, I hate calling him the Jon Snow guy, but the one that
Kit Harington, Henry Muck,
yeah,
Henry Muck.
yeah, her relationship with Kit Harington, like, it's just, I'm really curious to see how that plays out. The whole like bathroom scene in the pool, like, um,
Oh, you're cutting out. Is that just
No, I
me,
think you cut
or
out.
did he?
No, he cut off for me too.
I'm not used to seeing her in control.
Sam, you're cutting in and out quite a bit. So
Wait, can you hear me now?
Hmm.
yes, but you're cutting out long term. So keep talking, and I'll let you know again.
Oh, sorry about that. No, so, I mean, for the most part, I think I like seeing her dynamics, um, and seeing her in more of a control. I feel like most we've seen Jasmine, like, she's kind of, not to say just a victim, but she's always like either being manipulated or coerced into doing things, and now it's like we're kind of seeing her behind the wheels. So I'm looking forward to see like where they take her this season.
Yeah, it's interesting you said that. I'm gonna hold on to that. Tej, what do you think? It's interesting. Go ahead, Tej.
I just want to just go over a couple things that have happened this season. A, we saw her dad's dick. That was really weird. B, we saw her dad get on top of her. That was also extremely weird, especially the way that we got it. 3, that old lady that was messing around with, what's his name? Is his name Greg? The white dude who works with them.
Robert?
Robert.
His name is Robert.
The older woman that Robert was dealing with literally just died randomly out of nowhere. She just literally just died. That was a shock. I said, "Wait, it's like episode 2. They just like she's just dead. She just like literally just dropped dead." Um, we also got an extremely homoerotic scene where someone asked Greg to be subservient, or
His name
someone
is
asked
Robert.
Robert. Why I don't know why I keep calling him Greg. Someone asked
It's
Robert
not Succession.
to comply. Like they said that he said like compliance. We got a very homoerotic scene. I don't know where the hell that storyline's going. We got a meeting with Eric and Harper after Harper had her own fun, and Harper just turned up on that nigga in terms of the way that she was talking to Eric. Eric was incredulous. Like, he literally could not even find words because of the way Harper was getting her bars off, the way she was talking to him. She was talking down to that man. You used to be my boss. I was your protege, but now I'm better than you. I have my own fun. It's lit, bitch. That has also happened. We also had Yasmin's dad disappear, and she got like a $30,000 bottle of wine. She finally had a good day after having an extremely bad day in episode 1, and she just chugged it on a bus. Like, this is in 3 episodes of this show. We have gotten all this stuff. Not to mention our new actors and actresses, and not Greg, Robert got into a fight in a ball pit, and nobody broke it up. Like this season has just been so pitch perfect. It seems like they're making all the right decisions. Every decision they make seems to be interesting and fun. There's not one subplot, one minor storyline, one part of the season so far that does not interest me. It is all so good, and I'm just literally blown away by what they've been able to accomplish in this moment.
There's a couple of things. Oh, go ahead.
Teach. My bad. I'll be quick about this. She went full Gustavo and Hector, saying, "Look at me, make eye contact. I want you to see me. Look at me, Hector or Eric, whichever one."
Here's my thing with the homoeroticism regarding Robert. Let's not forget, wasn't Robert involved with David Johnson's character in the first season? Are we forgetting this? Or wasn't it someone else?
Wait, were they? I was thinking about that. I don't remember whether
Or
we've
did
seen him
David
with
Johnson have
men.
another
No, it was
white man?
another. It was
No,
a.
he had another white
It was
man. They
another
were
Another white
white
roommates
man
man,
with
and
because
they
I
were like
remember
roommates.
they showed the the substance on his face afterwards or his chest in the scene in that season. It was another blonde white guy.
It was another one. Okay, so I feel like we've had a lot of homoerotic moments with Robert, but he doesn't ever do anything, I guess, is what it
Definitely that.
was.
Yes.
It's constant, which I really fucking like. Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about everything surrounding sex with this show, because I think Sam earlier had mentioned Yasmin and control and stuff like that, which she has a lot of control over her sex life, and that's why I'm excited about Yasmin as a character this season. Harper, we started with Harper, we ended with Harper, we're gonna end with Harper. Harper is still a very 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 big key player, but we've kind of shifted our focus to the nepo baby, the now broke nepo baby, the now broken, stalked, and maybe extorted, maybe like used for many many things in many many different ways. Yasmin. And I think the cool thing about this show and its creators and its writers that it really understands is like the dynamic of power. The dynamic of power in the workplace, the dynamic of power in your sexual relationships, and the dynamic of power with your family, and all of how it like relates to money. And I think that's really, really fucking cool to watch. And I think that's why this show works so well and why it's now in the season or in the Sunday slot of HBO, right? Just after, House of the Dragon ends. Yasmin has complete control over her sex life, and they give her a very unique, relatable sense of autonomy. There's something in my eye. And I think it's really important when you're hot and everyone wants you. There's a lot of assumptions and projections and things that go on around. And I'm obsessed. Since day one, I'm obsessed with how they present Yasmin. She's hot, everyone wants her, she's fucking rich, and she's fucking miserable. And so we play with her power. Where does she find power? Where does she not have it? Where does she lose it? Where does she gain it? It's fucking cool. I loved where she's out with her lawyer regarding the shit that her father put her through. No power, right? No power in that scene. She's just like, please help me, lawyer. And then her lawyer ends up fucking her boss, doing cocaine and fucking her boss. Okay, we see her lawyer, and they say it happens so fast. This is all 3 seasons of television, or 3 episodes of television. It happens so fast. Yasmin's lawyer that's trying to help her because she's broke as fuck, according to relatively broke, right? Her boss ends up fucking her attorney that's helping her out. Then she uses that moment to kind of make a play. Here's the gaining of power to make sure that she can keep her fucking job, and not only keep her fucking job, but shine with this Lumi IPO. And this is what we're talking about, guys. This is television, okay? We've got this fucked up, dynamic, complex character, and she's hot. And every time she's on screen, and every time there's something going on, we remember that she's hot and what that means for every man that she encounters, right? And so we get Kit Harington. We have Kit Harington, the male version of her that's hot, right? And he's a stupid rich. He's stupid rich with all of the usual kind of kinks and desires and issues that all the stupid wealthy rich people have. They all have them, okay? There's like the desire and the power. There's things that make you tick after you make too much money for too long and you're playing the fucking game, right? And they reference that a lot. You're playing the game, and it's always, the game is about power. It's not even about the money. We know the money's there. Everybody got the money. Everybody has money. We're playing the game of who can get more. We're playing the game of who you can get to, suck your dick. Like, these are the things that are happening. And so I just love how we have Yasmin, who's always in complete control, but simultaneously not in control of her sex life and her workplace and her family life and her friendships. It's so cool to watch that. It's a push and pull every single moment, every single scene. And I just feel really, really seen by her. I really, really do. When she is like, oh, I know that y'all want to fuck, and I may let you fuck, but let's see what's going to happen in the interim. Let's see how I deal with this discomfort as being seen as a hot person before I'm seen as a businesswoman, right? Seen as a hot, rich daughter before I'm seen as someone truly capable and powerful and apt at what I do in this industry. And it's very, very, very unique. And I think all the hot girls need to watch this show because we have a lot of good representation. It's very important. It is. Okay, go ahead, Jordan. I saw your hand up first.
Yeah, just a couple of quick things. One thing. There's so much that happened, so I understand. Tej didn't mention is on the Robert thing. Robert and the miner in the kitchen. That scene was really that was a weird scene as well. And then with Yasmin, so I'm conflicted as far as like, no, I totally agree with everything you just said. But when we were talking earlier in the space about just like her, and even I kind of mentioned it, like where her arc is going as far as like, is she gonna be like turning over a new leaf as far as like maybe becoming more one of the more likable characters on the show, and just in general in life. Um, I don't know how I feel about it just because that scene at the end of episode 3, like she's on one hand she is taking back some and living in a lot of the power that she has, but at the same time it's not totally merit based as far as like her positioning, which is where I feel like she wants to eventually get to. So it's this weird middle area where she's making progress, but at the same time it's kind of a new type of, instead of living by my dad's and my family's name, I'm living off my own hotness, but it's still not all really merit. So but it's still my power. And then
But
yeah,
I think that's interesting, the term merit, and I think we could really get into
yeah,
that because that's Harper's story,
yeah, yep,
right? I mean, let me be clear. I just spent a lot of time just being really fascinated and enamored with the way that they portray Yasmin. Yasmin is a terrible person. I wouldn't trust Yasmin with anything. I also wouldn't trust Harper with anything. These people, and I think that's what they show in this industry, hashtag industry HBO, that everyone is going to do whatever is best for them. And at Pierpoint, they're going to do whatever is best for them. They are not going to do what's best for everyone involved. They're going to do what's best for them. And it happens to be good for you, great. But I did this for me. Oh, there's congratulations. So I agree with you. Don't be misconstrued. I respect the way that they're portraying Yasmin, but she's also a terrible person.
absolutely,
Robert may be the least terrible person, and he's also a fucking
very
terrible
terrible,
person.
absolutely. And then the last thing, no, totally agree. He's also pretty fucking terrible. Last thing, this is more kind of a question. And I don't know how it's gonna fit, if it's gonna play out, but with Yasmin this season in particular, for the first few episodes, were you getting like trafficking undertones? I kind of was, and I just didn't know where to like place it or like where it was gonna go. But how some of the guys and some of like the older guys were like talking to her and like mentioning like her father and stuff, I was getting mad trafficking undertones, but I didn't know where it was gonna go.
And that's why I talk about the sexual power that she has. I'm telling you, they're cooking right now. Teach, go ahead.
A couple things. One, you talking about sex a lot. We had 2 sex scenes. Well, two sex kind of scenes in this episode. This is the second time that Eric has asked a woman, "Does he fuck like a young man?" So that's obviously something that's weighing very heavily on his heart. Uh, and also, he used Robert's name to the woman he paid for sex, and then he paid 20 racks for sex. And Robert's it's just weird there. And also, we got a sex scene at the end with Yasmin, who finally fucks John Muck, but they do it on his private plane while Eric
Not
and Robert,
John Muck.
huh?
John Muck is
You know
crazy.
nothing, John Muck.
John Muck. What? Oh, sorry, Henry Muck, whatever his name is. She fucks Henry Muck while Eric and Robert are in the back, like in the back of the plane. They can basically see the beginning of the sex before the door gets closed. So we had some sex in this episode, and both both those sex scenes not only drive the plot forward, but also are just fucking insane. And also, I'll say I don't think so. My thinking in the first three episodes was that okay, we've kind of switched our focus to Yasmin. I don't think that's going to be the case all season because of the way now that Harper has been established. I think it's going to be equal footing. I think we're going to follow both of them equally. And obviously, right now, they're on good terms. I'm sure at some point they will be on bad terms. This is how their relationship goes. They have their ebbs and their flows. But both of them are bossing up. Like, not only did Yasmin now have, obviously, she's dealing with a lot in the press, and that first episode was very rough on her. But the IPO, it went well, even though the stock later tanked. But now she's fucking the dude who just sold all his shares, and now he has a whole bunch of money and free time to fuck around with her. She's making boss moves. She's got the respect of Eric because they have been bonding, and she basically was running point on this, on this particular deal, on this particular trip they went to the conference. So yeah, she's glowing up at the same time that Harper is reaching the height of her power in terms of her own fund, and it's just so fascinating how those are weaving together, and both of them have so much cool shit in front of them this episode. I'm sure. I'm loving the way they're telling the story right now.
Me too, me too. Edwin, welcome to the stage. Thank you for waiting. Talk to us.
Thank you for having me, letting me be able to speak on the space. I've been really enjoying it. Uh, so about the sex, if you don't like sex scenes or just like don't mind them, then this show ain't for you. And if you're missing out on the show because of it, then you're missing out on some great writing, some great acting. Because like what Conrad and Mickey are doing with the writing of the sex scenes is just showing like how psychological like the whole game is between like these characters. Like Harper, she's just a typical freak bull, just sexting at work, saying like it's like, hey, I took these for you, and then the dude is like, hey, so what do you want to do about the movie account? It's about to be over, like it's about to expire. And just showing like the dynamics for all these characters. Like for Yasmin, it's kind of like just be on top of the men that she's been dealing with. Like I remember the first season when Yasmin and Robert were having that cat and mouse type of relationship, and seeing that it didn't go further. But it's just interesting to see how Yasmin operates in a world where yes, she's a nipple baby, but she knows how to work her way with crowds and men and rich people. So seeing like how she's using it to get to Henry Muck, but also not to be submissive is just interesting to see. And I like when Teach mentioned Eric, like he's having issues with his like practically his life. He's divorced. He can't really date. He's having trouble connecting with people, and then seeing like his worried about like, do I fuck like a young man? And then seeing him getting coochie debt, I was like, bro, it's like you really are washed. So it is interesting to just to see like what these sex scenes do with these characters, and like it's like messing them up. And it can be like pretty shocking, like Robert and Nicole when they had their thing, and it was like just some weird like terrible vibes that you just know like Robert didn't really have a mom, and Nicole's just being abusive. And so like not saying like it's good, but it's just like it's interesting to see like how these characters operate in a terrible industry. So yeah, I just feel like this is what really good writing is. That's not afraid to go further deeper into what these characters deal with. We need more of that type of stuff in the show.
You spit. That was all bars, all facts. I fully agree. On a very serious note, we got a lot of we talk about this in a lot of our shows, but I think industry just does it so well in an oddly like enticing kind of way. I don't want to say we're enticed by the awful things that these people are doing, but it's just like it keeps you committed to what happens next. And it's very hard to do when you're having like essential sexual assault scenes, right? There's sexual assault, there's these power dynamics in these sex scenes. There's this, idea that if you don't do this thing, I'll fuck you on this thing. Like those are real words that are being spoken during this show throughout the last 3 seasons. And this season, we're really getting into like the dynamic is not always just older versus younger or richer versus poorer or women versus man. Like they are hitting everything. And these are all very real experiences that people have. And I think that's why this show is so important, just to be on a serious note for a little bit. It's so important because we had a younger mommy issue girl that just clearly is grieving, right? The loss of her mother. And she took advantage of Robert, right? That scene, I don't know how y'all saw it, but she took advantage of Robert. And Robert said no multiple times. But then we've simultaneously seen Robert in these incredibly like enjoying these submissive moments with other characters that he's attracted to or maybe not attracted to. And then he also was fucking the mom of the girl that just like assaulted him and completely disregarded his autonomy in these sexual moments. Like, listen to what I just said. That's so layered in so many ways. And it's just such an honest depiction of like how things can get really, really, really messed up with this industry. And when you have a lot of money and when you have a lot of power and you think that you're Kit Harington / Jon Snow / Henry Muck, and there's a hot girl on at Pier Point and she's just gonna come crumbling down for you. And she does, but there's a certain way that she goes about that journey, and that's fucking cool to watch, right? Like you said, Edwin, like the daddy issues that Yasmin has shows up in her sexual relationships or lack thereof with Robert and with Henry Muck, and it's just so interesting to watch that. So I really enjoy it. Tej, what do you think about just like the sex and the power dynamics and the psychological effects? Because I remember season 1 and season 2 very clearly, and there was a lot of that, but it was the stuff that you like hear about on a serious note in the news. But I feel like season 3, they're like, let me show you that it's not always what you think is going to happen. She gives you that. Anybody else in the room gets a $30,000 bottle, they're going to be like, oh my God, and post it on Instagram. She was like, doop, chug, 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 take a bus home. Oh shit, they got photos of me on the bus. Damn it. And it just shows you how different money affects people. And, rich, wealthy men like that kind of shit, right? Like, they like that. He gave her that knowing that she might not even think it that serious because she just played in his face in the bathroom and he liked that shit. So, Tej, go ahead.
I think that this show is obviously about power, and they're showing you the power dynamic. Goes to his room to invite him to a very important meeting, and he is caught with his dick in his hand, and he's fucking with prostitutes, and so now she's looking at him like, "What is up with you, bro?" The power dynamics in the show are always shifting, and it's scene to scene. Who's got power? The way that Harper talks to Anna, and the way that she talks to Petra, but now you can already see that not only does Harper have her own shop, Petra was above her at the last shot, but it's already clear that Harper, because of the moves that she made, is above Petra. They are partners, but Petra is in the same situation that she was in. She just has a different partner. She had Anna, who was her boss, which she didn't like. She thought she can go be Harper's boss, or we can be equal, but it's clear already that there's going to be tension there because Harper is making moves already. She already caught Petra on the back foot, so now Petra's basically in the same position. They're always reinforcing these power dynamics, and it's just incredible to watch.
I fully agree. Let's talk about my girl Harper for a minute because that's my girl right there. Don't care what you say. Turn her up. Whatever fucked up decision, whoever she's gonna fuck over next, turn her up. Okay, just keep me out of it, but turn Harper up. Honestly, whatever man she's about to fuck over, whatever woman she's about to fuck over, whatever hedge fund manager, whatever anybody, turn her up. And here's the thing, I'm gonna be that person because I can be. She's a young black girl, And they didn't shy away from that. She is a young black girl. She ain't got her degree. We reiterated that in the scene with her and Sarah Goldberg in the Hummer, right? You ain't got no degrees. We know you didn't finish this, but clearly you're fucking amazing at what you do, right? And she's paying the price. She has paid the price because she's a fucking assistant. She's walking around running and making coffee and tea for people when she's a fucking monster. Harper is a monster. She's relentless. She's sick. Harper can go toe to toe with any human being she meets at any time. And when she's kicked down, she gets right back up. And when she has to eat shit, she's going to eat it and she's going to wipe her mouth. She's going to get right the fuck back up. Harper is a monster.
What did
And
that
so
old man call her? He called her something. He said, "You're one of us. You're a." He said something. He said
You're a
killer or something.
troublemaker.
A what?
A troublemaker.
He said troublemaker, but then he said something else. He said, "You're a troublemaker, but
Yeah,
you're
he
one of us."
says. Yeah, it was. I think it was a callback to something
Bandit.
earlier.
He said she's a
Yeah.
bandit. A bandit.
Yeah,
She said she's
bandit.
a
Like
bandit.
he said,
like
you're a troublemaker, but you're one of us. You're a bandit. Look what Monique just said. This woman did not finish school, y'all. This woman did not complete the thing that they said everybody has to go complete this to do this. She finessed it, and somebody who's way, way up, somebody who literally just gave her $300 million, which means he's got hundreds of millions, billions of dollars potentially. He looked at her. He saw it in her eyes. He said, "You are a bandit like us. Of course I'm going to fund your startup because you one of us. It don't matter you didn't go to school. I don't care that you're black. I don't care that you're a woman. All I know is that I know a bandit when I see one, and you got that glow like Bruce Lee. And I'm going to make sure I get behind you." And seeing that ascent, that payoff, that moment, we've been watching 23, 22 episodes, 20 plus hours of TV to get to the moment where somebody at that level looks at her and says, "No, you really the one." That took us 22 hours to establish that moment. That's a huge moment. It's a tectonic shift for the show, but also a massive payoff for whether you love or hate Harper or root for her or not. Seeing that happen is just mind blowing television.
I am so invested in Harper. I'm so invested in her. Me too, okay? I want her on my team strictly for business and only for a little bit because she'll fuck you over now. But when it's her job to not fuck you over, you better believe you have the best person on your team, okay? If it benefits her to not fuck you over, you are about to soar high, okay? And it's just, she's a tricky, complex character, and I am absolutely obsessed. She
Her
is
haircut makes her even more like menacing to me. I don't know why.
not the short hair got you.
It is.
Pixie cut
It's
is
just more.
serious.
Wardrobe.
She looks cold. Yeah, she's cold.
Wardrobe, makeup. Shout out to makeup and hair and styling. Hell yeah. Shout out to those departments. They got to do their thing too to tell the story. Don't sleep on the collaboration to make great television, bros. It all fucking matters. And we just saw in, like you said, 3 episodes, Harper turned up. That's it. Harper's back in it. We back up. I want you to put the word out. We back up. She was making tea last week. She was making tea last week, answering phone calls. Okay. She was picking up dry cleaning. And she saw a little chasm in their little fund. And she said, "Let me go to this woman's office." Sarah Goldberg's character. "Let me go into this woman." There's a Petra. What's her name? Anna?
Petra.
Petra. Let me go into Petra's office real quick, see what's going on. A bandit. A bandit. She's fucked up. She's fucked up in the head. But when you need somebody fucked up in the head to get some shit done, she's going to get it done. And I love it because I loved Eric for the same reason. I have a love-hate relationship with Eric. Eric is a lunatic. Eric is an absolute lunatic. Please, someone please do something about Eric. But also, let my guy cook. Eric is a sicko, and he's simultaneously completely terrible at his job. He's the worst father we've ever seen. My goodness, what a terrible father. What a terrible husband. What a terrible father. You're a terrible manager, and you're also great at what you fucking do. Once you get on that floor, and I love it. Who's the other guy that we keep seeing that is like he has to report to? He's played by a good, whatever.
Oh,
his
he's like the older partner.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Whatever
Wait,
his name is.
The
Adler?
American.
Bill Adler?
Yes. Again, when I talk about power, right? Like Eric is there. Eric is the one managing all this shit at Pure Point. But then we get those scenes where he just comes in. He's like, "Eric, what the fuck are you doing? Eric, why the fuck are you handling shit?" And I love the scene where Eric is kind of managing all his associates, and he comes in and he answers the phone. He's like, I'm always on the phones for a very powerful IPO. What are you talking about? And just lying, just absolute liars, ruthless, fucked up liars is what this show is. I'm cussing a
He's
lot.
a lunatic.
These people, and that's what Harper has. And I love that we're going into season 3 with like the little sprinkles of Yaz, because Yaz not really ruthless, right? Or is she? And I think we're gonna get to know that over the next few episodes and in this season. Like, Yaz, are you really that girl? Do you really have it? Because you're surrounded by people like that. And when you get into that dog eat dog world, it can make you a fucking ruthless, relentless monster, just like everyone else. But sometimes it's one of those things, either you have it or you don't. And so I like that they're also acknowledging the pretty privilege, the Nepo baby privilege, right? It's not even, pretty privilege is like probably second or third, because we talked about it in this season too. They were like, oh, she's that rich guy's. Didn't she get here off of her connections of being that rich man's daughter? Yes, she sure did. And so Harper and Yaz have quite a bit in common, right? Like, neither of you are supposed to be here. You didn't do what you were supposed to do to get here, but you're good. And you came out your daddy's dick, and that's why you here. That's it. Your daddy fucked a woman, and she had you, and that's why you're here. And that's about it. That's all you got. And so both of these women in these spaces are trying to like prove themselves, and they're getting knocked down constantly getting knocked down, getting blows to the head, and they're like, all right, let's bandage this up and let's get back in it. I mean, we're talking about Yasmin and Harper have gone through a lot, guys. Like, most of us would not make it through a day and a half of being Yasmin or Harper. Okay, it's tough. So I want to let Sam speak. Go ahead.
No, I mean, you're definitely hitting everything on the head. It's been mentioned it before, but her naming the fund the Leviathan, like, to me,
I fully agree. Edwin?
Yeah, so I think with Harper, my boss 9 times to not hire me. So I feel like this is the type of character you don't really see a lot.
Right.
And I was watching a video of Mahala doing an ASMR, and she was like saying like when I read the script, I saw that there's no character like this, especially being a black woman. So it's just a person that's like super complex, short, like just like a black woman, and then like just being underestimated, but like making sure like she executes her job very well, viciously. Like she has to go tooth and nail to get this deal done. Like that scene of the whole conference, and then they had the camera on Eric, and she's like, "Hi, I'm Harper Stern. I work for this company," and you could see like his face drop and Anna's face dropping, and you just be like, "Harper, like, what are you doing?" And you just be but you see like how she'll go tooth and nail to be sure she gets what she wants,
Fucking relentless.
just being a killer practically.
Killer,
and even
yes.
and even though like Petra doesn't like the way like she operates, like she'll back out, or she'd be like, I see you cheating, I don't like that because it could screw me, but also you're trying to get back at the person that fired you. So it's like just you just see like Harper's like being like,
And not,
I'll burn everything to the ground to get
and
what I
not
want.
just the person that fired you. For a while, that was her mentor. Like, he had Harper's back, you know. And she is a killer. I couldn't help but think of Logan Roy, R.I.P. Logan, trying to figure out who's the killer of all his trash ass kids. I'm like, Harper is the killer that you were looking for, bro. It was Harper. Harper is who can run Roy Star Waco, okay? But it was, I love Harper. I love Harper. Unfortunately, like I said, keep her away from me and my family, like on the friendship level. But like, if I need to know where to put a couple hundred mil, I'm going with Harper too, because she is relentless about what is going on and what she can do to make sure she wins. And I love it. I love this Eric Tao. I love this Eric Tao kind of Harper back and forth. It's fire. It makes so much sense. And I'm so excited to keep watching season 3 of Industry HBO. That is what we watch. Thank you so much for joining. We're back next week because you know some shit is about to pop off. We are back next week. Thank you for joining. This is what we watch. Thank you so, so much again for being a part of this community. It's really, really up, and I'm really glad you're a part of it because my day ones, y'all gonna know what's up in about 5-10 years when it's really, really up, and we got all the verticals and all the kind of stuff of this empire that we're building together. I mean that. I'm from the bottom of my heart, truly. It is so exciting. It is so nice to be able to talk film and television with you guys. I'll see you next week for Industry HBO. Please go watch Alien Romulus. Again, that is not a recommendation that I take lightly. I'm very serious. David Johnson is not an Industry HBO because my guy's in the box office, okay? He's doing his films, all right? And I love that. So remember, this is a business as well. Shout out to David Johnson. Shout out to all of the characters on Industry HBO. And shout out to Mickey Down and Conrad McKay. Thank you for making this. We have our Sunday HBO slot. See you next week.